All right. You also talked about cargo. You seem to be passionate about the fact that aviation should contribute to the economic development of Nigeria. What are the potentials of cargo?
Huge. As it is, we have cargo volume coming into Nigeria, but we don't have the capacity to take it out because essentially nothing is being taken out. And that means we are becoming the dumping ground for importers. So we have to export. And we have huge potentials in that regard. If you take countries like Kenya and Ethiopia, the economy is almost 80% aviation driven. Dubai is 28% aviation driven. But if you put it together, it shows you the lost potential that we are losing by not actively getting involved in cargo. But the cargo that is so dear to our hearts is that of perishable cargo. When we talk about perishable cargo, we are talking about the peppers, the onions, the granules, those things that we have in all our villages, those things that we can easily cultivate. And so we're developing a product called food to supermarket concept, using aviation as the platform to do that. In doing so, the President, Dr. Goodluck, approved the initiative of the national perishable concept. And so in doing that, critical infrastructure has to be there, and those are the perishable terminals. And currently we are doing 16 across majorly all the airports. Now what that will do is that it will trigger economic growth in all our rural areas. The farmers, your aunties, your uncles, all of us will have access to international markets because we can plant, we can cultivate, and that we cultivate in our villages can find its way into Tesco supermarkets or Value Mart supermarkets, any of the supermarkets. And so the rural economy will grow, the rural farmer will have access to international markets, and most importantly, the value chains, the young ones, the youth, the young adults can go back and start having access to those value chain. Logistic is there, packaging is there, several things that they can do and be useful adults as time goes on. But in totality, it will be growing the economy from bottom up, and that will mean that all aspects of the economy will benefit from aviation being the catalyst and the platform for this huge economic growth.
So back to the tour, what is your overall impression of the terminal at this stage?
It's work in progress, but you will agree with me that it's equitable to any airport in the world. And to see that was accomplished in less than 2 years, I'm even impressed that we're able to do that and using local contractors to do that at the record time and prudently done as well. So I think by middle of next year, several other aspects of Murtala rehabilitation will come public. For instance, all the loading arms, we're changing them completely. They are 38 years. Nothing has been done to them till date. The fingers as well. The fingers, we're creating 3 levels of the fingers, and so we'll be able to separate departure passengers from arrival passengers. You've seen the conveyor belt. I mean, it's a wonderful and very nice conveyor belt. That's what we deserve. We deserve terminals, we deserve airports that project who we are, project the progressiveness of our people, project the fact that our aspiration is just that of progressives, and that indeed the aviation sector, when repositioned as we have repositioned it, will be catalyst to the economic growth. So we're very happy to what we've accomplished now. But again, it's work in progress. And as the day goes by, you will see more effect of that.
Well, you mentioned safety. Safety is a global concern. In all of this remodeling work, how do you think that remodeling exercise is contributing to safety?
The essence of remodeling is safety in the first place. The whole purpose of rehabilitation and remodeling is safety. And in aviation, safety is always prioritized. Nothing you do or can do will not be safety based. The terminals as they were just dangers waiting to happen. It's like having a capacity for 1,000 and suddenly you're putting on that 1,000 capacity 10,000 plus. The structure could hardly hold. But ours were so visible that the toilets were in decay, the floors, the ceilings, everything was in decay. And so rehabilitation was a necessary safety measure we had to take. It has nothing to do with cosmetics. If it were cosmetics, we would have scraped the buildings, paint them as it were, as they have always done in the past, and put people back there. But no, it was just too dangerous. We had to prioritize safety. We had to tear them down and then put them back again.
Crashes remain something that connotes danger to the minds of many people. How would you be helping airlines in 2014 to get it right? Most of our airlines now are comatose, about 3 or 4 are down. How are you going to ensure that the local environment gives room for them to operate better?
Plan number 4 on our master plan is growing domestic airlines. And what we tried to do there was to ensure we strengthened the domestic airline with several measures. Government has had several interventions. One is setting up the intervention fund. In the past, it was misused by the airlines, but we're changing them. And the first thing we're doing is to look at the business model of an average local domestic airline and have in place different business model. The business model currently in place is not working and hasn't worked and will not work. And so in working with Central Bank and Domestic Operators Association, we came up with a model, a business model that will promote good governance, will have respect for passengers, bill of rights, but most importantly, to strengthen the SAA to make sure that they're able to execute and implement the regulations, because aviation is one of the most regulated sector. The regulation is necessary for safety purposes, and so all the policies we must insist on compliance. And we went further by separating safety and security from economic regulation to make sure that the airlines are healthy, because most of them are very, very unhealthy now. And so government also introduced leasing framework. Now, what the president has in mind in establishing that is to give the domestic operator access to a cheaper fund. So they will have access to facility that is single digit, but will also be a much longer term, 20 years for instance.
Now we've talked so much about empowering the airlines with the CBN fund and all of that. Globally, airlines are merging, some are consolidating. Do you see that as a future option for our airlines?
Definitely. We will consolidate through our policy. You're going to see mergers. But before the mergers will come to play, they have to have a platform that will drive that. And that is what the new NCA policy is encouraging, that the individuality may not help airlines, and it may be better that airlines come together to have a much stronger airline. But we will not insist on mergers. The policies will enforce the need for merger and non-merger. And there will be new incomers into aviation sector, because we're going to make it viable, we're going to make it very commercial, most importantly to be efficiently and professionally run. So those investors that see the viability will come in. I mean, it's double-digit growth, which means it's a very, very healthy and viable sector for people to invest in.
Moving beyond Muitala Mohammed, what will be your major agenda in 2014?
2014 for us will be to harvest all we have done so far, to more or less consolidate them. Aerotropolis will come on the front burner for us 2014, and so the commerce within the airport will increase. The capacity building will focus more on it as well, but safety in all this will be prioritized. The automation will also come to fruition. So for us, 2014 is a very interesting year, but more of a year of consolidation. So the impact will be felt more on 2014.
So on the final note, when you leave office, what would you like your legacy to be?
My legacy, and it's not my legacy as much as it's President Goodluck Jonathan's legacy, because I worked for him. Literally, he saw and met a dead sector and resurrected a dead sector and made it vital and pivotal to the social economic growth, but most importantly, used it as a platform to generate employment, a platform to strengthen the trade and investment.
Thank you all for speaking with us. Before we go on the program, we say congratulations to Dr. Olumiwa Aliu as he takes the reign of presidency at the International Civil Aviation Organization ICAO Council. We say keep the Nigerian flag flying. This is our exit point on the program. Do leave us a word on aviation this week at channelstv.com. And Bukola Joe Oketumbi. Have a prosperous 2014.